August 21st, 2016, the day history was made, the day a new star cemented himself as the guy, the new face of the WWE, but unfortunately the day that marked an end of a tenure that was just starting out. So it's your boy Lancy back with another video, and today we will be talking about the case of Finn Balor in the WWE, as it feels like more than ever he's done. Finn Balor will never be able to reach the mountaintop ever again, reach those heights of old, and this begs the question, how did WWE fumble a potential great, a potential megastar this badly? So with all out the way, let's get straight into the video. When we start a discussion about the rise of Finn Balor and his ascent to the top, it doesn't just start back in the WWE. No. It starts all the way back in New Japan Pro Wrestling, where he was proclaimed the real rock and roller, the Prince Devitt. And if you don't recognize him from that, you will probably recognize that he created one of the most popular factions of all time, known as the Bullet Club. The Prince in New Japan gave us countless memorable moments, and although his run with the Bullet Club lasted just around a year, his run with the WWE was just around the corner, where Finn Balor was formally introduced to the world. And man, Finn Balor in NXT, his first run there, his first run with the WWE was something special. There was something unique about him, the entrance, the look, the moveset, the great matches, but most importantly, he had an alter ego that was a demon. Let me repeat myself once again, he had an alter ego that was a demon. Finn Balor during this period of time was must watch. Seeing something like this for the first time, seeing something like this for the first time as a young boy gravitated me towards him like no other wrestler had done in a very long time, and that reflected with the rest of the audience, as he was one of the most over superstars in the company while he was just in NXT. The matches he had with Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, Shinsuke Nakamura, being one of the longest reigning NXT champions of all time, being the face of NXT when they were being established as that third brand that at times was better than the main roster. So imagine the fanfare for one of the most exciting in the company to be called up to the main roster, and when he eventually did get called up, it did not disappoint for the time being. 2016 was a new era for the WWE, as we had a hard brand split between Raw and SmackDown for the first time in years. New stars and champions were being made. The product overall was amazing. 2016 was a really good year, and how could I forget about the draft, where Finn Balor was a first round draft pick to Monday Night Raw and quickly became one of the top faces of the brand with a rocket strapped to his back with limitless potential. During this time, Monday Night Raw had no champion, as Dean Ambrose, the current WWE champion at the time, was drafted over to SmackDown, which left a big vacancy for the top prize on the Red brand. So it was announced that at SummerSlam a new title would be unveiled, with a tournament playing out the upcoming weeks to decide which two men would fight it out at SummerSlam for the new world title. And during the build for SummerSlam, Finn Balor would beat the likes of Kevin Owens, Cesaro, Rusev, and most notably at the time the big dog Roman Reigns, in a really awesome match which would set the stage for Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. And holy shit, everything about this build was legit perfection, whether it was the interactions with the Demon and Seth Rollins, the promos, whatever it was golden. At SummerSlam 2016, Finn Balor would beat Seth Rollins to become the inaugural, the first ever Universal Heavyweight Champion. That night was nothing short of electric, a pivotal moment that marked the dawn of a new era in professional wrestling. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation as fans erupted in jubilation, united in their unwavering support for a champion they had longed to see rise. Finn Balor, with his charisma and undeniable talent, had positioned himself as the face of this new chapter in the WWE. It seemed at last that the powers within the company were aligning with the fervor of the fans, eager to elevate Balor to the forefront of the industry. But as the echoes of cheers faded into the night, a dark cloud loomed on the horizon. In a cruel twist of fate, less than 24 hours later, the excitement would be extinguished. The news broke: Finn Balor would be vacating the Universal title due to a devastating injury, leaving a void in the championship landscape that would send shockwaves through the wrestling community. As one story drew to a close, the canvas was set for another. The question lingered heavily in the air: who would emerge to fill the void left by Balor's sudden departure? Would it be a rising star ready to seize the opportunity, or perhaps a veteran seeking redemption? Time would tell, and it did, as the landscape of WWE would change as we know it in Balor's absence, and unfortunately he was never quite able to reach those heights of that one night ever again due to a lot of reasons, which would haunt him for the rest of his career. Finn Balor would make his return to the WWE on the Raw after WrestleMania in 2017 to a very loud ovation, and this is where a trend would start to occur over the course of Finn Balor's career, where you think he's going to reach that peak, reach that mountaintop once again, just for him to be so close, just to fall right back down, splat right on his ass. Steering away from all the negative to more of the positive side, during Finn Balor's return in 2017, he had a program going with Bray Wyatt, and both men were scheduled to go one-on-one at TLC that year, but Bray Wyatt got sick, and last minute he was replaced by the phenomenal one AJ Styles, and both men delivered a fantastic dream match that delivered on all fronts and showed exactly why Finn Balor should be in that main event scene with some of the top names in the company vying for that world title. My goodness, that match between AJ and Finn Balor was just off the charts. You had the guy that built the Bullet Club, the leader, he's the guy that started the Bullet Club, versus the guy that people have as like the greatest leader of the Bullet Club in AJ Styles. So seeing that was really amazing, and seeing them doing the Too Sweet was especially awesome, and really once again showed why Finn Balor should be going for the top prize in the company. And throughout the years, Finn would be involved in a plethora of feuds, which included him capturing mid-card gold but never the world title, and it just seemed like the brass at WWE was so reluctant for whatever reason to put the world title back on Finn Balor. And who remembers that weird segment where Vince McMahon outright said he did not believe in Finn Balor, talking about some weird shit like David and Goliath, Finn Balor not having enough meat? But you know who did end up believing in Finn Balor? John Cena, the face of the WWE, after Finn beat him to become the #1 contender for Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. So Finn has all the momentum in the world. He got the stamp of approval from John Cena. He passed the test with flying colors, but all that would be for nothing, as he essentially got squashed by Brock Lesnar in a match nobody thought he had a chance to win in the first place. So yeah, that continues the trend that had pretty much no end in sight. Around 2019, the WWE product was at an all-time low, and honestly, I stopped watching at times because my goodness, it was outright terrible. Like, it was really bad, but all things weren't terrible in the landscape of professional wrestling. And regarding North America, as a new wrestling promotion was starting up known as AEW, and AEW was different. It was an alternative, and on Wednesday nights, the alternative will go head-to-head with the WWE's third brand, NXT, dubbed the Wednesday Night Wars. And honestly, this war was just a one-sided ass-whooping, but overall, the NXT product was really good, and a big reason for that was the return of the Prince, Finn Balor. And in his second run in NXT, Finn arguably had a better run than his first, and showed exactly why he was one of the best in the world, but also pointed out a huge problem with Finn in the WWE, with that being, why is it so hard to book a guy like Finn Balor semi-decent? We all know Triple H booked Finn Balor better than Vince McMahon, but why is that? Was Vince angry at Finn for getting hurt? I don't really know, but as time will tell, questions would be raised about how Triple H was booking Finn Balor. After leaving NXT for the second time in 2021, Finn Balor would once again make his way back to the main roster, where he started hot. Everybody loved what was going on with Finn Balor. They were pumped to see him back. He beat Sami Zayn, but guess what? He did all that just to fall right back down to the bottom. And who remembers that contract signing between Finn Balor and Roman Reigns, where a homeless Baron Corbin attacked Finn Balor, taking him out of the equation, only for John Cena to attack Corbin and sign his name on the contract to face Roman Reigns that year at SummerSlam for the Universal title. And yeah, at the time, I was hyped for Cena and Roman, as it was a new Roman Reigns, a Roman Reigns that was running through everybody. But at the time, I could also realize that Finn Balor got screwed out of another opportunity. But guess what? A couple months later, he was right back in the mix, challenging for the world title, as he entered into a feud with the newly reinvigorated Roman Reigns, where there was a lot of excitement and question marks on if the Demon could beat Roman, but all that would quickly transition into confusion as what the hell happened. At Extreme Rules 2021, it was the Demon Finn Balor versus Roman Reigns in an Extreme Rules match for the Universal Championship, where Roman Reigns won because the ropes completely snapped on Finn Balor in a very bizarre finish that till this day has not been explained. Maybe like some voodoo magic, but that was so stupid. Finn already beat Roman, so there was already that kind of excitement there to see who could win like this trilogy, because Finn lost to Roman for like the Universal title a couple years after Finn beat Roman the first time. So there was all this intrigue, all this excitement, plus the Demon at this point was like undefeated, I believe, maybe just one loss. but why did you have to do this kind of finish? And this like bleeds into a lot of other stuff. It's just like WWE just continues to overthink the Demon. Why do you have to overthink this? It is so stupid. And going on to like the other stuff that I have written down, Finn Balor at this point in time needed like some sort of lifeline to get back in the main event picture, and that's exactly what he got with the Judgment Day story. Finn Balor would attack Edge and take over the Judgment Day as the de facto leader, and would enter into a never-ending story with Edge, where it all culminated at WrestleMania 39, where we got the Demon versus the Rated R Superstar inside Hell in a Cell, in what was shaping up to be like an all-time classic Hell in a Cell match. But you know, sometimes expectations better than the actual outcome, because that Hell in a Cell match was just straight up garbage. It wasn't good, a lot went wrong, and to make it worse, Edge beat Finn Balor. Edge beat Finn Balor, not just a normal Finn Balor, he beat the Demon on the biggest stage of them all, when we can all agree Finn Balor needed that win way more than a solidified Hall of Famer. Transitioning a couple months later, and the Judgment Day was on top of the WWE. They were being pushed as the main faction on Monday Night Raw, with new additions like Dominic Mysterio, JD McDonough, a surging Rhea Ripley, and Damian Priest, who were being elevated as some of the top stars in the company. And a prime example of this was Damian Priest winning the Money in the Bank and Ripley becoming Women's World Champion. During this point in time, Seth Rollins was the new World Heavyweight Champion and had a little feud going on with Finn Balor, where Damian Priest kept screwing Finn time after time after time out of his world title matches, which built even more intrigue as to what will happen when Damian Priest eventually does cash in and becomes champion. Will we see Finn Balor turn heel? Will he start his own faction, like I just said once again? Or could we possibly see, best case scenario, Finn Balor become World Heavyweight Champion from this? Time would tell, and in a couple months it did, as at SummerSlam 2024, Finn Balor turned the tables on Damian Priest, screwing him out of his world title match against Gunther, costing him his world title. That whole night revolving around the Judgment Day was just so special. There was a level of interest as to what was going to happen next regarding the whole Judgment Day story. Liv Morgan joined the group and became one of the top heels in the WWE. Rhea Ripley and Priest got the boot out of the faction. We were all ready to see what's going to happen next, and quickly we realized that history was going to repeat itself once again in a bad way. The Terror Twins versus Judgment Day was a boring, one-sided ass whooping for like multiple months, with people halfway through it begging for it to stop, and it could be like 5-on-2, and still the Terror Twins would always come out on top, unbeatable, like their prime Kurt Angle and SVR 2007, juiced up on the steroids. It was ridiculous at times, and it was almost laughable as to how 5 people couldn't beat 2. It was such a shame, because you had a great story there with Priest and Balor, because Finn Balor was right. He was right about Damian Priest. Priest screwed him, and every single time I made predictions about the upcoming PLEs, I would always talk about how this story can improve and how it can lead on to WrestleMania like 41 between Priest and Balor, how Balor could potentially become world champion. But no, I could admit that this story just needed to end, and it did on Monday Night Raw 2 weeks ago, like when I'm recording this 2 weeks ago, in a street fight where once again the whole point of Finn Balor going up against Damian Priest was to put over Damian Priest, and he did that. And at the same time, it put the final nail in the coffin of Finn Balor ever becoming world champion. I mean, I know I said that a couple times about it actually being the end for Finn Balor becoming world champion. No, this one feels way different than any other time. Like, this really feels like the nail in the coffin. I was there in San Jose watching this match live, and I was excited as hell because it was my first time ever seeing one of my favorites go in the ring, just for him to get ran through. When I say ran through, I'm being serious, because babyface Priest, the babyface, put this in quotations in my notes, the babyface Priest beat the living crap out of Finn Balor like he was the heel, and he pinned him clean in a match with a lot of shenanigans. To me, that marks the end of their chapter, and I mean, it was necessary. This needed to end. But Damian Priest, in conclusion, might just be Finn Balor's kryptonite for whatever reason, as he just can't seem to get past them. And now that we're in present time, Damian Priest has transferred over to the Blue brand in a move that was super necessary for all parties involved, as Damian Priest gets separated from all the Judgment Day business, which is a plus as he joins SmackDown. They need a lot of new baby faces over on that side, which is also a plus, as he gets like a fresh set of opponents and championships to go after. Now let's talk about Finn Balor, and if it's possible at all to salvage any hopes of him ever becoming world champion. And honestly, Call me stupid, I still believe he can be a world champion, and there are two sides of this argument, with one of the bigger ones going against Finn being that the landscape of the WWE has once again passed him up and has transformed a lot. It happened in his absence 9 years ago, and now with new additions over the past 2 years with the likes of Jacob Fatu, Penta, newer superstars being elevated up the card like a Damian Priest, Braun Breaker, Ludwig Kaiser's doing really good, Carmelo Hayes, it's gonna be really hard seeing WWE prioritizing an older superstar that's on the roster, that's been there, done that, instead of using like the new toys on the block that more of the casual eyes and maybe some kind of hardcores have more excitement for. They have fresh opponents, have a lot of buzz, and people want to see them become future world champions down the line, which not a lot of people are clamoring for Finn Balor to become in 2025. As unfortunate as it is, I mean, you really can't blame them. I mean, the fans, from what they have been seeing, from how WWE has been booking Finn Balor, why should they take Finn Balor seriously? He's been getting treated as a joke. Why is he running away and cowering away from Damian Priest when he has the upper hand? I mean, it's honestly it's embarrassing at times, and I can't blame the fans because that's what they're seeing. And how he has been portrayed on TV, he's been portrayed as a joke. And when Triple H took over creative, one of the guys I immediately thought was going to get elevated up the card, maybe you guys thought this as well, and had a chance to become world champion once again, was Finn Balor. But no, after time, he's done the same thing in the past compared to Vince McMahon. WWE has the chance to do it, but it's never really felt like the time was ever right. Maybe you could say, oh, Seth Rollins at SummerSlam or Money in the Bank was right. I could argue for that a little bit, but there was a story there with Damian Priest that was very intriguing, so I understand holding that off. But just the other stuff combined with this, it's a mixture of complete bullshit, and this just doesn't make a lot of sense. Although the time for Finn Balor becoming world champion may have never been right, when Finn Balor returns, it is mandatory that he goes solo once again, and I can see him turning on the rest of the Judgment Day members, having a feud with Dominic Mysterio, as that has been teased for a hot minute now, and a possibility thrown out there has been a possible return at the Royal Rumble, and honestly, I do not want to see that at all. When Finn Balor does return, which may not be for a while, as he did get fucked up, he should come back with a vengeance, with a malicious intent in mind, a taste of revenge in the mouth, and for personal reasons as a fan, the World Championship in sight. We got a teaser of it earlier in the year with a singles match that didn't really last too long, but I would really love if this could happen at WrestleMania to see maybe the Demon, which I don't really know at this point if that can happen, versus the Ring General Gunther, because we've got like a little preview of that a couple of times, but I would really love to see that because a lot of people are throwing around the WrestleMania hypotheticals. This one probably doesn't make too much sense, but for me, I really just want to see it, and I do believe this can happen, maybe not at WrestleMania, but sometime in 2025 for sure. When discussing Finn Balor, but most importantly the Demon King, WWE needs to make the Demon King feel more rare and use it for special occasions only when it's necessary. And you know what else is necessary? Explaining why the Demon is coming out for a certain match or for a certain opponent and certain situations, instead of just throwing it out there. That happened too much under the control of Vince McMahon and too much under the current regime of the WWE. I'd like to see Finn Balor in vignettes explain why the Demon is coming out, explain the background of the character to the newer audience that just started watching the WWE, like we got in 2016 during his build with Seth Rollins to SummerSlam, because during that build he was explaining the background, the historical context of the character, which made it feel more important. And most importantly, you got to understand why the Demon is coming out right now and how important and dangerous Finn Balor truly is when he taps into that other side of him. Kind of going off topic here, but the amount of Finn Balor edits I have consumed in the past couple of days has been insane, and honestly at times it's made me shed a tear, because what Gunther said is true. This guy was champion for one night. He was the best in the world for one night, but unfortunately that all changed with one injury. So I mean, I've been thinking about this for a while. Similarly to like the soccer player Neymar, Finn Balor was the prince who never became king. So what do you guys make of the current Finn Balor situation? Do you guys think he will ever become world champion once again? Who would you guys like to see him feud with when he first comes back? And lastly, will he ever transition from prince to king for more than one night? So with all out the way, comment down your thoughts below. It's been your boy Lancy. Peace out.